I accidentally found out that my mother-in-law has been stealing my underpants. I was angry and asked my mother-in-law why she was wearing my underwear. My mother-in-law said I made a fuss. Which pair of pants have I not worn? After using the toilet, I found my new underpants in the laundry bucket. And it was actually passed through. There are only 2 women in this family, me and my mother-in-law. It's impossible for other people to wear it at all. But looking back, how could a mother-in-law wear her own clothes? I can't figure it out. I picked up my underpants to check. There are indeed obvious traces of being passed through. I was furious. Take the pants and go to the mother-in-law to argue. She is sitting in the living room eating melon seeds. Watching TV laughing so loud. I lift my pants, Mom. I just bought these pants a few days ago. Didn't wear it either. How did it end up in the toilet? Is it what you wear? The mother-in-law looked up and it didn't matter. Pick up the melon seeds and continue watching TV. What's all this fuss about? Which pair of pants have I not worn? And that just kept playing out in my head. I looked at my mother-in-law in disbelief. I was shaking with anger. What I want to say has been shocked and unable to say. I was scared. Will you contract hygiene problems? He was probably annoyed by my stare. Speak first, do you need it? It's just wearing your pants. No big deal. You wear mine too. I won't be as stingy as you. I'm pissed off. Do you think it's a small thing? Did you know that this will get infected? The mother-in-law is not happy to hear it. Grab a handful of melon seeds and throw them at me. What's your attitude? Are you cursing me? If I'm sick, I'd love to wear yours. What's the matter? You don't want me to wear it. I still want to wear it. This scene was seen by my husband, who just came home from get off work. He quickly put down his briefcase. Pat off the melon seeds on me. What's up? What are you doing? Son, he bullies me. My mother-in-law's usual style. I just like to reverse black and white. I calmed down. Tell him what just happened. Lu Yuan showed an unacceptable expression after listening. Look at Granny. Mom, how can you do this? It's not good for you. I'll take you to the hospital tomorrow. Even my own son, who worked hard to raise. Come and bully me too. No more. The mother-in-law sat on the ground and cried. Mom, this is your fault. Don't do that either. I'll take it out and buy some new ones. Get up by yourself. After Lu Yuan finished speaking, he took me out to buy a new one. Throw away all the worn ones in the house. The mother-in-law ignores her son. He stood up and pointed at me and yelled. Lu Yuan asked for leave to take my mother-in-law and me to the hospital for examination. To reassure everyone. The mother-in-law doesn't buy it. I always thought we all hated him. We all think he's sick. Under Lu Yuan's good words, he reluctantly agreed. After the doctor's examination, my mother-in-law and I were both diagnosed with inflammation. My symptoms are severe. Fortunately, it's not too late to find out. Not rooted. No wonder myself. I've been feeling very sick recently. It stings sometimes. I thought it was my own illusion. Didn't think about it at all. The doctor prescribed medicine for me and my mother-in-law. And popularized health knowledge. But how could I not know this? I wash my hands very clean every time. I also used special laundry detergent. Is it when you don't know it? My mother-in-law tampered with me. The problem must be with the mother-in-law. When I got home, my mother-in-law blamed me instead. It's all your fault, you must be unable to wash it clean. That's what gave me inflammation. The mother-in-law said with a righteous expression. I just feel shivering all over. Does she know what she's talking about? She still doesn't know it's her fault. Have you always been stealing through my underpants? Why would you do that? Don't you know this will make you and me sick? Granny is still righteous. What are you yelling at? My own is not dry. What's the matter with borrowing your clothes? Besides, every time I wear it, I flushed you with water. So what she means is, she wears it every time I wear it. Then just flush with water. And then spill it while I'm not looking. Secretly put it back for me. The emotions that had been suppressed for a long time were finally unbearable. Breaking down and yelling at him, what's your heart? You can't see me like this, okay? The mother-in-law is also angry. Is it necessary to yell at me? I don't think it's a big deal. You won't die if you wear it. See if you are sick. Besides, do you have it? I don't have either. I'm still infected by you. I'm more aggrieved, okay? I almost laughed. How on earth did he have the nerve to say those words? Lu Yuan stood by the side and was heartbroken. Mom, apologize to Sharon. This is your fault. Don't ever do that again. If you go on like this, neither Sharon nor I can forgive you. My mother-in-law cried bitterly. You all bullied me. How are you, Lu Yuan? You will now bully your mother with your wife. I don't want to live anymore. Here we go again. He does it every time. As long as you meet him, you can't say it. He would cry to keep us from arguing with him. I met Lu Yuan in college. It has been 6 years since college and marriage. He was emotionally stable during the relationship. It's good to study. He looks okay. Past all aspects. He hasn't changed since marriage. Always treat me like before. At first, I was very harmonious with my mother-in-law in all aspects. She was nice to me. It's probably been a long time since I cried. She just had a showdown. Started to make things difficult for me. Be sarcastic to me. Fortunately, Lu Yuan has always been on my side. I let myself not take it to heart. Once, Lu Yuan and I were both very busy. I went out after eating at home. I want to keep the bowl and wash it when I come back. When I came back, I found that the dishes in the kitchen had been washed. The mother-in-law said she washed it. We were all shocked. Because my mother-in-law doesn't usually take the initiative to work. Or is it that her mother-in-law missed her mouth? We just found out. The dishes she washed that night. The dishes were washed in the underpants she just didn't want. She tried to save a dish towel. Put yourself through. Take the panties you are going to throw away and wash the dishes. I just cooked a few dishes that night. So there are many pots and bowls used. Some are put away directly after washing. It looks clean when you take it out and use it again. Use it directly. After Lu Yuan and I found out. Immediately run to the hospital for examination and gastric lavage. She threw up in the middle and I was outraged. Tell him not to do this again. He wronged me first. Not to lighten your burden. It's not that you don't know how expensive things are now. I call that secondary use. And it's environmentally friendly. If only others knew. Will definitely praise me. Suddenly too lazy to talk to him. He has no shame. I'm also ashamed. Standing on such a strange mother-in-law. Since then, Lu Yuan will help me wash if he can at home. Lighten my burden. But my mother-in-law saw Lu Yuan taking a shower. He is displeased. How can a grown man come into the kitchen to wash dishes? How outrageous. You don't do the dishes yourself? No hands or no feet. Lu Yuan directly returned to his mother. Then you used to be when I was little. You keep telling me to do the dishes. Why can't you wash it now? The mother-in-law has nothing to say. Go directly to the room. He was walking along and yelling at me. Fortunately, Lu Yuan will always be on my side. Sorry. My mom does go a little too far sometimes. Every time I tell her she doesn't listen. Make you feel wronged. Lu Yuan looked apologetic. I look at her like this. The anger in my heart has dissipated more than half. I thought Lu Yuan had mentioned her. She will want to change. But now reality slapped me hard. He still does. He will always be like this. I look at my toothbrush that I haven't brushed yet. It's already been used. The brush head is wet. I just woke up. Lu Yuan is simply impossible. Who else but my mother-in-law? I strode over to my mother-in-law with my toothbrush. This time I just burst out of anger. Mom, why are you using my toothbrush again? Don't you have a toothbrush yourself? Or do you want to say whether your toothbrush is dry or not? Use my dry toothbrush. The mother-in-law still doesn't care. Really? Maybe I just woke up and didn't see clearly. Just wash it and use it again. Do you need to yell? My voice was shaking with anger. You did it on purpose. Last time it was underpants. Don't you dare say you didn't wake up and took my underpants by mistake. My pants are always in my room. You also know how to wash it and put it back. I used your underpants to wash dishes before. And now it's my toothbrush again. You tell me. What do you have in mind? I've been put in the hospital several times because of you. I'll tell you what. I've always seen Lu Yuan treat me pretty well. I don't care about you. You have been challenging my bottom line. If you do something disgusting again, I will definitely return it to you. One by one. The mother-in-law's face changed immediately. No longer an indifferent attitude. Come on, come on. If you dare, I will immediately ask my son to divorce you. I know you love my son very much. Then I will ask my son to divorce you. Make you cry. It's been so long. Not a single child. My son married you. I feel so sorry for him. The more she talked, the more excited she became. The sound is getting louder. Speaking of kids, the Lu Yuan I've always wanted is now on the rise in my career. He is afraid of having. He doesn't have time to take care of me. He also knows what his mother-in-law looks like. Don't worry, leave me to my mother-in-law. So just wait for him to stabilize this year. And start having kids. We didn't tell my mother-in-law about this step. It's normal for him to think so. After all, what elder wouldn't want to have grandchildren? But these words hit my heart hard. It turned out that he always knew that I loved Lu Yuan very much. But he may not know. Lu Yuan also loves me very much. I believe he will never let me be wronged. After all, he was reasonable at the beginning. It's 1 o'clock this evening. Lu Yuan comes home from get off work. The mother-in-law complained first. He's lying on the ground hugging Lu Yuan's thighs and crying. Son. Your bad wife will only charge me all day. He took advantage of your absence. Been abusing me. Don't let me eat. Don't let me sleep. Just accused me of using his toothbrush. Quickly divorce him. Otherwise, I'll be tortured to death by him. I was blown away by his amazing acting skills. Talk too much or watch too many TV dramas. It's really good to learn. Looking at Lu Yuan, he shook his head. Husband, these are all Mom's own nonsense. I didn't do that to him. But Mom's using my toothbrush is real. Granny got up from the ground. The sound just went up. Let your mouth say it all. What evidence do you have? Can prove that I used your toothbrush. I'll tell you what. Words are unfounded. Every time I want to talk to him nicely. It will always be this way. I won't let him let it go this time. A while ago. Because there are too many behaviors that my mother-in-law cannot understand. So I discussed with Lu Yuan. Install a surveillance camera in a hidden corner of your home. It is convenient to view the daily life of the mother-in-law. It can also work. Prevent mother-in-law from behaving incomprehensibly. Find out early. And there is evidence to prove that the mother-in-law did it. I gave my husband a wink. She pulls out her phone. Bring up the morning surveillance video. In the screen. The mother-in-law gets up early and goes directly to the washing table to wash up. At first she picked up her own toothbrush. Hesitated for a few seconds. Put your toothbrush down. Pick up my toothbrush and brush your teeth. After brushing your teeth, dip your toothbrush in some water. Smile and leave. Afraid after watching this video. Could it be that you haven't discovered it yet? Granny does it all the time. And I projected it directly onto television for her. The big screen is enough for her to see clearly. You say, what else do you have to quibble about now? Mom, why on earth are you doing this? Is it because I didn't do well there? Make you dislike? You can tell me directly. I was angry and powerless to question her. The mother-in-law was probably caught as evidence. Looking at Lu Yuaner pitifully. Mom just thinks her toothbrush has been used for a long time. I don't think it will be clean. That's why I used his toothbrush. Mom knows it's wrong. Mom didn't mean to. It will never be like this again. Granny finished. Eyes full of dissatisfaction. Mom, you don't have to apologize to me. You have to apologize to Sharon. The mother-in-law sounded displeased. Didn't Mom just apologize? That's it, I am going to bed. He gave me a hateful look as he left. No matter what I think. I can't think of anything about myself that makes him hate me so much. Not far away to see my sadness. He patted my shoulder to comfort my wife. My mom may have misunderstood you. When she is in a good mood that day. Let's sit down together and have a good talk. Don't think too much. It will be solved eventually. I'm going out to buy you a new toothbrush now. I'll bring you your favorite snacks. Okay? Every time I listen to Lu Yuan's warm words, it always makes me sweep away the sad things. I know I didn't marry the wrong person. It is also at this moment that I know how important it is to marry the right husband. What an important thing. Although my mother-in-law's approach is difficult for me to accept. But fortunately, the husband did not favor the mother-in-law. Fortunately, he also knew that his mother was wrong. Before I married Lu Yuan. I often see those online. I know my mother is doing something wrong. You still blindly favor your mother. Unite his mother to hurt his wife. Blame your wife. I get angry every time I see it but powerless. You can only type on the screen. Cheers for those women. Lu Yuan's work has been much easier these days. Have a lot of time to spend with me. Before going to bed at night. Lu Yuan looked at me shyly. Honey, it's time for us to consider having a child. The more Lu Yuan talked, the more shy he became. Like a big boy. Obviously already a big man. But I just love seeing him shy. Smile and nod. Okay, let's ask for it now. 1 month later. I feel like vomiting as soon as I get to eat. Lu Yuan noticed my condition. Immediately take me to the hospital for examination. The test results revealed that I was pregnant. Lu Yuan and I are both very happy. When I got home, I immediately told my mother-in-law the news. The mother-in-law was also very happy for the first time. Know what comes to mind. The face suddenly pulled down. Better give me a boy. Don't give me a money-losing product and come out. I'm really angry this time. Mom, what are you talking about? This is the 21st century. Gender equality. Lu Yuan couldn't listen either. Yeah, it's all the same, boys and girls don't be patriarchal. Mother-in-law raised her voice, I just like boys. I have a preference for boys over girls. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Lu Yuan still wants to quarrel with his mother-in-law. I pull them away. I don't want the baby in my belly. Hear bad sounds. Since I got pregnant. Lu Yuan went home earlier. Every time I buy a lot of vegetables, I will come back and cook them for me. He said he would raise me for nothing. Fat. But every time my mother-in-law sees Lu Yuan cooking in the kitchen. Always call me hypocritical. Isn't it just pregnancy? Who hasn't been pregnant? I can't even cook rice now. Do you have to wait to be fed after eating? I don't know how hard my son works. I also know that Lu Yuan works hard. Every time I want to go out to buy food and cook. Lu Yuan disagrees. I'm afraid something will happen to me outside. While eating. Lu Yuan suddenly fed me. Probably what my mother-in-law just said to me. He heard me wife open mouth. Hubby, you need to eat more. Nutrition. Come on, Mom. You eat more too. Lu Yuan put a piece of braised pork in his mother-in-law's bowl. My mother-in-law's face that just sank is also a little better. What about cooking? Or do you want a woman? Don't think you can't cook a meal if you're pregnant. Glanced at him. Think about it or not. After all, he was pregnant. Lu Yuan has no one to help him. So I can understand how he feels now. He is also a woman who wants to be loved. So now I see me being cared for by Lu Yuan so much. Some are unwilling. Originally. I don't want to care what my mother-in-law did to me. But he always challenges my bottom line every now and then. All kinds of yin and yang. I am lazy. Doing nothing. When I was pregnant. Lu Yuan is also. We want our baby to be born healthy. So he wouldn't even let me work. Trying to keep me in a good mood. Sometimes he's too busy. I will invite an aunt to work at home. My mother-in-law is not happy. Every time he takes out the work he used to do himself. Said let me work by myself. Don't waste money. He is yin and yang again. I couldn't help but go back. Don't always use your previous affairs as moral kidnapping. I'm pregnant. I never asked you to help me either. Lu Yuan is my husband. Husband helps his wife. Love your wife. What's there? Right? Again? I have your biological grandson in my belly now. Are you saying that you are so interesting every time? The mother-in-law immediately came back. That's my son. I can say whatever I want. I can't listen to him no matter how much I communicate with him. If you plan to not have a conflict with him in the future, it will not happen. Just let yourself go. But no peace for a few days. My mother-in-law has done something for me again. I don't know where he went to listen to folk remedies. If you drink it, you will definitely give birth to a boy. I've been trying to ask my opinion these days. Sharon, this is what Mom asked a lot of people to ask. They all say they drink 100% to give birth to boys. Drink it while it's hot. My mother-in-law handed me a bowl of blue soup. I subconsciously knocked over that bowl of soup. I don't want it. The mother-in-law returned to her arrogant appearance. Do you know how hard it was for me to get this soup? I'll let you drink it. You gave me a drink. I ignored him. Go back to your room and stay. I'm afraid it will be more dangerous to stay with him. My mother-in-law kept yelling outside my room door. If you dare to give me a money-losing product. Just wait for me. Listen to the harsh voice of my mother-in-law. I touched my stomach. Instantly scared. I am afraid that my mother-in-law will take advantage of the situation without knowing what to do to the baby in my belly. After all, he has done so many strange things before. So be careful. I stayed in my room. Lu Yuan comes home from get off work. Tell him everything his mother-in-law did just now. What? My mom did that? Lu Yuan's tone was very angry. He directly got up and went to the living room to find his mother-in-law. Mom, what are you trying to do? I forbid you to hurt Sharon and the child. Granny glared at me fiercely. Now you can complain. Many people have tried that method. I just brought it for her to drink. Besides, how could I go harming his own grandson? What do you young people know? I will live longer than you. I know more than you do. You all listen to me. He finished. Just take out that folk recipe and show it to us. They also showed us some successful cases. That's who he is. I will always take out the salt I have eaten. More than yours. Are we done? Lu Yuan tore up those folk remedies. The mother-in-law is not in a hurry. Tear it off. I wrote it down anyway. He would rather believe in these nonsense folk remedies. Just don't believe what the doctor says. Lu Yuan took me back to my room to rest. Tell me how long to pay attention these days. Mother-in-law. She's determined to let you drink. You should pay more attention to him. Don't let him succeed. Lu Yuan's tone was full of apology and self-blame. I know he was fooled by his mother-in-law like this. Dilemma. But as long as he doesn't touch my bottom line, I will pretend not to see. This day, my mother-in-law's attitude towards me changed 360 degrees. He personally made me a big bowl of fish soup. Something tells me the mother-in-law and the fish soup have problems. Come on, Mom. I went to the market early in the morning to buy fish. It's fresh, drink it while it's hot for you and my grandson to make up for it. Granny's tone to please. Eyes full of anticipation. I'll drink it soon. I looked at this fish soup as usual. But my gut feeling makes me think the fish soup can't be drunk. Maybe he secretly added a prescription. Think of it this way. I would rather he scolded me. I can't drink either. I pretended to accidentally spill the fish soup. Sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to. My acting is really bad. She saw through it all. The mother-in-law's face changed immediately. Sound roar. You did it on purpose. You gave me a drink. Granny pressed my head. Spilled fish soup on the table. Trying to make me drink. I struggled. Dare not speak. For fear of getting fish soup. Granny is very strong. I was pregnant. Looks a little weak. The smell of fish soup makes me sick. Almost threw up. I suddenly felt a sense of strength supporting me. Let me break free. Leave, mother-in-law. She fell to the ground in pain. I saw my mother-in-law still smiling. Even if you are not drinking now, I can also make you drink. Watching all the memories of her before came to mind. The previous one was like a knife, one by one. Stick it in my heart. I still want to harm my child. I couldn't bear him any longer. I want it all back. Give it back to him one by one. Lu Yuan checked the surveillance at night. Learning of her mother-in-law's behavior. Angry, I went to confront my mother-in-law. And I got him. So far. I know he won't listen no matter what. It's useless for me to think about it. Tell Lu Yuan to treat him. I thought he would object. It's his mother after all. But I didn't expect him to agree immediately. And very supportive. I want to start. That must be to pick his favorite. The most precious thing. My target looked at my mother-in-law. That's his favorite dress and it's expensive. I took that dress to wipe the kitchen soot stains. When my mother-in-law finds out. That dress has long since changed beyond recognition. Sharon, what are you holding? Isn't this my dress? Why are you wiping it? Do you want to die? Granny is angry. Keep wiping your skirt with your hands. I pretended to be innocent, Mom. Didn't you say you don't want this dress? I thought about losing it directly, but it's a pity. Just take it and throw it away after cleaning. Granny growled. When did I tell you I didn't want it? You pay me. How is that possible? Mom, you clearly told me in your dream. You are responsible for what you say. I don't care. I ignored his swearing. Just leave with a smile. This should be. Defeat magic with magic. He was going to hit me. Thinking I was pregnant, I put my hand away. I saw it all. After he stole my toothbrush. Now I put it all in my room. I'm really scared. This time I looked at her toothbrush. I was brushing her shoes with her toothbrush. Specially picked a conspicuous place. I'm afraid she can't see. What are you doing? That's my toothbrush. Did you do it on purpose? The mother-in-law saw her. In a hurry to run over and take her toothbrush. I looked at it and threw the toothbrush on the ground again. I still look innocent. Sorry, Mom. I read it wrong. I thought it was an unwanted toothbrush. I also used it to brush my shoes yesterday. Mom, you should be useless. Gritted her teeth angrily. Because he used it. You wait for May watched his back as he left. It's not over yet. When cooking at night, I deliberately served a bowl of rice to my mother-in-law. Added 3 tablespoons of salt. Cook and make the rice into flavors she is not used to. Because she is not to be wasted. Probably bite the bullet and eat it. Sure enough. She was cursing. While eating the rice and vegetables. She drank water all night that night. Almost no sleep. The next day I looked at her creepy face with no rest. I can't help but shiver. These are the days. I used almost all the tricks he used on me. Use it all on him. I almost broke him. It's approaching her due date. I'm being extra careful these days. Suddenly a tearing pain hit. I had a hard time calling the hospital. And call Lu Yuan. After a lot of hard work. My child with Lu Yuan was born. She's a lovely daughter. Lu Yuan was already waiting at the door. Of course my mother-in-law is also there. The nurse hugged her daughter and happily informed them. The mother-in-law learned that it was a girl. His face changed immediately. Been blaming me for not drinking that bowl of soup. He kept yelling at me in the hospital. Lu Yuan took the child to the nurse. And he didn't want to hear it the moment she was born. He took his mother-in-law to a place where no one was there. Mom, I really can't treat you well like this. Talk nicely. I have told you many times. Boy or girl. All my children. Also your grandchildren. Granny didn't listen at all. Still yelling. I don't care. I just want a boy. The one you married. Useless thing. No boys. I made him drink that soup. Don't drink. It's all right now. He was teasing me a while ago. He looks like a boy to me in every way. I'm not arguing with him. I didn't expect him to pretend. I won't let him go. Lu Yuan is also completely helpless towards his mother. He ignored his mother-in-law and came to take care of me. Wife, you have worked hard. Lu Yuan took a month off. Just to take care of me. After my mother-in-law knew that I gave birth to a girl. Never been to the hospital. She was too busy talking bad about me. My reputation was also lost overnight by her. Bring me up now. I will be said to be bullying my mother-in-law with my husband. I thought. She just went to talk to her usual rambunctious neighbors. I didn't expect it. He even said that the group of relatives he didn't usually contact. My good son married a bad wife. Come and bully me all day. Even my son doesn't care about me. If a son marries a daughter-in-law, he doesn't want a mother. Sharon? He usually looks very obedient. I didn't expect this kind of person. It's not easy for your mother-in-law. You should listen to your mother-in-law more. This Lu Yuan is too bad. Why don't you help your mother? Bai Yang is so big. The relatives started talking non-stop. The mother-in-law smiled happily in front of the screen. I look at these ugly words. They didn't understand things. Authenticity attacks them directly. I thought I was the so-called elder. It's always right. Lu Yuan is sitting next to me. He saw those words too. I saw the incredible anger in his eyes. Probably seeing his own mother would say that about him. His heart has already been poured cold. I touched his head. Comforting in the face of these elders. Under purposeless attacks and abuse. How should we juniors deal with it? Lu Yuan typed and deleted. Deleted and typed. Not a word was sent out in the end. I asked him to quit the group together. Look no further. It took a few minutes to quit the group. My mother-in-law called. Why are you all leaving the group? I can't even say a few words to you, can I? Lu Yuan tried hard to control his emotions. Mom, I'm so disappointed in you. After saying that, Lu Yuan hung up the phone. He has always been strong in front of me. I only saw him cry when I was married. This is the second time I've seen him cry. I held him dearly. It will be better to cry. He doesn't feel sorry for himself. But love me. I'm sorry I made you feel wronged. I'm useless. I held back my tears. How come? You're nice to me, that's even better. It's all right, let's not listen. Don't pay attention. Our daughter is still waiting for us. Although it has been a long time. But keep holding back. I was so mad. There's nothing you can do about them. The most important thing now is to live our own lives. Have a good life. For them, it's counterattack. I can finally leave the hospital today. Lu Yuan took my daughter and me back home. As soon as we entered the house, my daughter and I got the white eyes of my mother-in-law. We ignore her. Lu Yuan has to go back to work. He's going to get me a babysitter. As soon as my mother-in-law hears that she wants to hire a nanny. Run over in a hurry. I'll take care of it. Why don't you give the money to someone else? Lu Yuan refused. The next day, the nanny arrived. Gritted her teeth angrily. I have trouble finding a babysitter from time to time. So scared that the nanny didn't even want a salary. Just don't do it. I don't want to embarrass Lu Yuan. Let my mother-in-law take care of me. Just pay attention to yourself. Lu Yuan kept telling me to pay more attention before going out. My mother-in-law said to take care of me and my daughter. When I really use her, I start to pretend to be uncomfortable. Say go to rest. When he cooks, he only cooks when he is hungry. I do it myself with my daughter. I have low back pain and can't hold my crying daughter. Give him a hug. He also said that his lower back pain was terrible. No way to hug. I endured back pain to coax my daughter. He was in the living room watching TV and laughing loudly. One time he suddenly offered to help me feed my daughter. I took the opportunity to eat. Okay, I'll have the strength to take care of my daughter later. Go and take your daughter back after eating. Look at the scene in front of you. I just feel like the sky is falling. I'm even more sorry for my daughter. I saw my mother-in-law actually chew food with her mouth. To feed my daughter. I'm going crazy. He quickly took his daughter back from her hands. Do you want to get her killed? I immediately called Lu Yuan to go home. Take your daughter to the doctor. I wash my hands clean. Take the food left in the daughter's mouth with your hands. Get it all out. My mother-in-law rolled her eyes at my movements. She's just a girl. Is it so expensive? What he did to me before. I can live with it. But now he's reaching out to my daughter. I can't stand it. I took the water glass from the table and threw it in his face. Damn girl, what are you doing? It's you. Now, I thought. The daughter is still his granddaughter. At least not to hurt my daughter. In the end, I was too innocent. Lu Yuan rushed back angrily. Let's go to the hospital. Granny blocked Lu Yuan. Did you have to? Isn't it just feeding him with his mouth? Does she need to go to the hospital? You still mean it. I've been despising my old lady. Lu Yuan is angry. Mom, how can you feed a child like that? It's unhygienic to eat like this. Don't you know it yourself? Children's physique is already poor. Did you do it on purpose? Granny is righteous and so are you. I fed him. How are you okay now? Why can't you get to your daughter? It's like how precious your daughter is. Lu Yuan doesn't want to say more. Take me and my daughter to the hospital for examination. My mother-in-law was crying behind us. After the doctor's examination, the daughter was diagnosed. Got hand, foot and mouth disease. I held my daughter and kept saying sorry to her. I didn't take good care of her. Lu Yuan comforts me and doesn't blame you. It's all my mom's problem. Finish feeding the medicine. After the daughter falls asleep, Lu Yuan dragged me to the balcony. What's wrong? Mysterious. Lu Yuan handed me a house book. This is another house I bought. We moved there. This house is for my mother to live in. I looked at him in surprise. How did you have the money to buy it? Lu Yuan smiled happily. I secretly hid it myself. And you can check in immediately. No formaldehyde. Lu Yuan told his mother-in-law. Mother-in-law disagrees. But we just informed her. Not with her consent. We took our daughter to live in a new house. Life without a mother-in-law is particularly beautiful. We live in peace. But I often get calls from my mother-in-law. She said it was boring for her to live alone, no one to accompany. She said she missed her daughter very much. Said she knew her mistake. He used to assure us. Never do that again. But we won't believe it. Because he said it more than 100 times. He now spends all day at home crying to others. We don't want him. Leave him alone at home. But his current situation is also his own. Self-inflicted. In the end he couldn't take it anymore. We ignored him. Leave him alone. Admit it yourself. All the things he did to me and to my daughter. It's all on purpose. He said that he felt uncomfortable seeing me being loved by Lu Yuan. He said that he saw that his daughter was also loved by Lu Yuan and me. I don't feel well either. He said he knew what had been done before. It makes me sick. He said he also knew how to mouth feed his daughter. It also makes my daughter sick. He told them everything. He wants us to forgive him. I didn't say anything. But that doesn't mean I forgive him. This lifetime. He and I will always be separated by an uncrossable river. I wouldn't tell this to my grown daughter. She herself chilled her son's heart. Now we are only responsible for her food and clothing. We still don't care about the rest. She spent her later years alone. Often regret tears. I can only say that if you don't do it, you won't die. End of the full text.